The day my mother stole my future started like any other Thursday, except this time I caught her red-handed with my bank statement spread across the kitchen counter. I stood frozen in the doorway, watching her perfectly manicured fingers trace the numbers that represented 4 years of my hard work and savings. My name is Isabella, and I'd spent my entire life trying to earn my mother's approval. But standing there, seeing her scrutinize my personal finances without permission, I finally understood that nothing would ever be enough. "Isabella, darling, I didn't hear you come in," she said, not even bothering to hide the papers. "We need to discuss something important." I gripped the doorframe harder. "Those are my private statements, Mom." "Private?" She laughed that airy laugh she reserved for when she thought someone was being ridiculous. "Sweetheart, I'm your mother. Nothing is private from me." "What did you do?" My voice came out barely above a whisper. She straightened up, smoothing her designer blouse. "Your brother's wedding is coming up, and as you know, these things are expensive. Donovan deserves the absolute best." My stomach dropped. "You didn't. The venue alone costs—" "That's my college fund." I stepped into the kitchen, hands shaking. "I've been saving since high school. Every extra shift, every bonus, every birthday check. And it's being put to good use," she cut in. "Your brother is marrying into the Addams family. This wedding needs to be perfect." I grabbed the statements off the counter. The transfer had already gone through. Nearly everything I'd saved, gone. "You had no right." "I had every right. I'm still listed on that account from when you were a minor." She reached for her wine glass, taking a casual sip. "Besides, you can always take out student loans like everyone else. Donovan's wedding is a once-in-a-lifetime event." The familiar sting of being second best burned in my chest. "And my education isn't important?" "Of course it is, darling. But you've always been the practical one. Donovan needs this connection with the Addams family. Their influence could really launch his career." My phone buzzed in my pocket, a text from Donovan himself. "Need to talk. Meet at Sterling's in 20? "I have to go," I said, already backing away. "Isabella, don't be dramatic about this. Everything I do is for this family." I didn't respond. I couldn't. If I opened my mouth, I'd either scream or cry, and I refused to give her the satisfaction of either. 20 minutes later, I burst into Sterling's apartment where my brother was already waiting. One look at my face and Sterling, my best friend since middle school, wordlessly handed me a glass of wine. "She did it, didn't she?" Donovan asked, his face grim. I nodded, downing half the glass in one go. "Every penny, Don, for your perfect wedding to your perfect bride." Sterling settled onto the couch beside me. "That's literally theft. We could report her." "She's still on the account," I said bitterly. "Legally, she had every right." Donovan stood up, pacing the room. "This ends now. I can't watch her destroy your life like she tried to destroy mine." I looked up at him, surprised by the steel in his voice. My brother had always been Mom's golden child, the one who could do no wrong. But something in his expression had changed. "What do you mean?" I asked. He stopped pacing and turned to face me. "You remember 2 years ago when I wanted to start my own business instead of joining Dad's firm? And suddenly you changed your mind?" The pieces started clicking together. "She threatened you, didn't she? Threatened, manipulated, blackmailed, take your pick." He sat down across from me. "But this wedding, it's not what she thinks it is. And if you're willing to help me, we can turn her perfect plan into our escape route." Sterling leaned forward, intrigued. "What exactly are you suggesting?" A slow smile spread across Donovan's face, the kind of smile I hadn't seen since we were kids plotting to steal cookies from the kitchen. "How would you like your money back, Bella? With interest?" I set down my wine glass, meeting his gaze. "I'm listening." "Mom thinks she's orchestrating the society wedding of the year," he said. "But what if we give her a ceremony she'll never forget? One that finally shows her exactly what happens when you push your children too far." For the first time since finding those bank statements, I felt a spark of hope. "Tell me everything." "Remember when we used to hide in the treehouse?" Donovan asked, refilling my wine glass. We'd moved to Sterling's balcony, the city lights twinkling below us like fallen stars. Every time Mom had one of her society parties, our secret rebellion headquarters, I smiled, the memory warming me more than the wine. Where we'd eat contraband candy and plot our great escape. Well, baby sister, it's time for the great escape to finally happen. Sterling returned from the kitchen with a fresh bottle. Okay, you two have been cryptic long enough. What's this master plan? Donovan leaned forward, lowering his voice despite us being alone. Remington isn't really my fiancé. What? I nearly choked on my wine. She's my business partner. We've been building a tech startup in secret for the past year. He pulled out his phone, showing us a sleek website. Mom thinks Rem is just the perfect society bride, daughter of her country club friends. She has no idea Rem's trust fund went into developing our app. Sterling whistled. That's actually brilliant. But the wedding? I asked. All my money? Is going straight back to you, Donovan assured me. Plus a share in our company. Rem and I needed one big investment to launch, and, well, he shrugged. Mom volunteered without knowing it. I stood up, pacing the balcony. She'll never forgive us. That's kind of the point, Bella. Donovan caught my arm, stopping me. Look at me. When was the last time you did something without wondering if Mom would approve? The question hit hard. I thought about every career choice, every relationship, every outfit I'd second-guessed because of her potential reaction. Exactly, he said, reading my expression. She's controlled us our whole lives. But here's the thing. I'm not actually getting married. What do you mean? Sterling sat up straighter. Oh my God, you're going to leave her at the altar? Better. Donovan's eyes sparkled with mischief. We're going to give her exactly what she wants. A society wedding that everyone will talk about for years. Just not the way she expects. Don't keep us in suspense, Sterling prodded. Rem's not walking down that aisle, Donovan said. You are, Bella. The wine glass nearly slipped from my hand. What? Think about it. Mom's spent months planning this elaborate wedding, inviting everyone who's anyone, making sure all eyes will be on our family. So let's give them something to see. You want me to marry you? I couldn't help laughing. That's insane. Not marry me, obviously, but imagine Mom's face when her perfect society wedding turns into her children publicly exposing her manipulation. We'll have a captive audience of all her peers. Sterling jumped in. My brother Grayson works in events. He could help coordinate everything behind the scenes. I sat back down, mind racing. But what about Rem? Won't this hurt her reputation? Already handled, Donovan assured me. She'll be called away on urgent business the week before. Mom will be too invested in the wedding to cancel. Then, at the ceremony, I show up instead of Rem, I finished, the plan taking shape in my mind. With documented proof of every manipulation, every threat, every stolen dollar, Donovan added. Projected on screens for all her society friends to see. Sterling was already typing on his phone. Grayson can handle the technical side. He's been wanting to get back at your mom since she got him blacklisted from planning country club events. I took a deep breath, memories flooding back. Mom missing my graduation because Donovan had a golf tournament. Her forgetting to submit my art school applications. The constant comparisons and subtle put-downs. You know what this means, right? I asked Donovan. If we do this, there's no going back. No more family holidays, no inheritance, no more walking on eggshells, he interrupted. No more living our lives according to her script. He took my hands in his. Remember what we used to say in the treehouse? Marshall kids against the world, I whispered our old motto. Damn right. He squeezed my hands. So what do you say, Bella? Ready to crash a wedding? I looked at Sterling, who gave me an encouraging nod, then back at my brother. In that moment, I felt like that little girl in the treehouse again, dreaming of freedom. Let's do it, I said, raising my glass, to the great escape. We clinked glasses as the city lights twinkled below, conspirators in the night plotting a revolution that would start with a wedding march. You're absolutely sure about this? Remington asked, adjusting her fake engagement ring under the cafe's patio umbrella. We'd chosen this spot carefully, far enough from Mom's usual haunts, but public enough to avoid suspicion if anyone saw us together. For the 10th time, yes, I assured her. But are you? Your reputation? We'll be fine, she cut in, stirring her latte. The tech world loves a good scandal, and our app launches the week after the wedding. Perfect timing for maximum publicity. Sterling arrived with Grayson in tow, laptop bag slung over his shoulder. Ladies, your technical wizard has arrived. Keep it down, I hissed, though I couldn't help smiling. Grayson had the same dramatic flair as his sister. He pulled out his laptop, showing us a detailed timeline. Okay, so I've got everything mapped out. The wedding's in 3 weeks. Rem, you'll need to leave town next Thursday. Already booked my flight to Silicon Valley, she nodded. Very public, very traceable. Perfect. That gives Marin 9 days to panic, but not enough time to cancel without losing all the deposits. Grayson clicked through his presentation. I've arranged for the venue's AV system to be upgraded the day before. They think it's a complimentary service. Sterling leaned over his shoulder. What about the guests? All 300 of them, I groaned. Mom made sure to invite everyone who's ever meant anything in this city. That works in our favor, Remington pointed out. More witnesses means more pressure on her to maintain her composure. My phone buzzed. A text from Mom. Dress fitting at 3. Don't be late this time. Speaking of composure, I sighed, showing them the message. I have to go play supportive sister for the afternoon. Actually, this is perfect timing, Grayson said. I need you to plant this in your mom's office while you're there. He handed me what looked like a normal USB drive. It'll give me remote access to her computer. I stared at it. You want me to hack my mother? We need proof of the money transfers, Remington said gently, and any other dirt we can find. The more evidence we have, the less she can deny. Plus, Sterling added, we need to make sure she hasn't found anything suspicious on her own. The USB felt heavy in my hand. What if she catches me? Tell her you're backing up wedding photos, Grayson suggested. She'll eat that up, the devoted sister helping with precious memories. 2 hours later, I was standing in Mom's home office, heart pounding as I plugged in the drive. The dress fitting had gone exactly as expected. Mom fawning over Remington while passive-aggressively suggesting I do something about my figure before the wedding photos. Isabella? Mom's voice called from downstairs. Where did you disappear to? Just getting some water, I called back, watching the USB light blink. Grayson had said it would only take 30 seconds, but each one felt like an hour. Well, hurry down. Remington's mother is bringing over fabric samples for the table settings. The light turned solid green. I pulled out the drive just as Mom appeared in the doorway. What are you doing in here? I held up my phone. Sorry, needed to charge it. All that photo taking drained my battery. She softened slightly. You did take some lovely pictures today. It's nice to see you finally taking an interest in your brother's happiness. I swallowed the bitter retort that rose in my throat. 3 more weeks. Just 3 more weeks of playing the dutiful daughter. That evening, I met the others at Sterling's apartment again. Grayson was already deep in Mom's files. Found it, he announced as I walked in. Full documentation of the transfer from your account, plus emails to the bank authorizing it without your knowledge. That's illegal, right? Sterling asked. Technically, she had account access, Remington said. But the emails prove premeditation. She knew exactly what she was doing. There's more, Grayson added, still scrolling. Emails to Donovan's old business partners, threatening to pull strings if they worked with him. Letters to art schools withdrawing Isabella's applications. Even a blacklist she maintains for the country club. I sank onto the couch, the weight of years of manipulation hitting me all at once. She really did control everything. Not anymore, Sterling squeezed my shoulder. In 3 weeks, everyone sees the real Marin. My phone buzzed again, another text from Mom. Don't forget, bridal brunch tomorrow. Wear the blue dress I bought you. The green one makes you look sallow. I showed it to the others, managing a weak smile. The countdown begins. To the mother of all wedding crashes, Grayson raised his glass. We all clinked glasses, but my hand was shaking slightly. The plan was in motion. There was no turning back now. She's called 6 times in the last hour, I told Donovan, watching my phone buzz for the 7th time. We were huddled in his apartment, going over final details while Mom melted down over Remington's sudden business emergency. Let it ring, he said, sorting through documents we'd pulled from Mom's computer. The more desperate she gets, the less likely she is to cancel. You don't think she'll just find you another society bride? In 9 days? he laughed. Even Mom's networking skills have limits. My phone started ringing again. This time, it was Remington. You need to hear this, she said when I answered, putting the call on speaker. Your mom just offered to buy my company to keep me in town for the wedding. Donovan nearly choked on his coffee. She what? Offered 7 figures, sight unseen. I almost feel bad turning her down. Almost. She's really losing it, I marveled. Did she say anything about me? Oh yeah, Remington's voice dripped with sarcasm. Apparently you're inconsolable about missing your brother's special day. She's telling everyone you've taken to your bed with grief. Sterling, who'd been quietly working on her laptop, snorted. That explains the sympathy texts I've been getting. Half our high school class thinks you're having a breakdown. Perfect, Donovan said. The more dramatic she makes this, the better our reveal will be. My phone buzzed yet again, Mom calling for the 8th time. With a deep breath, I finally answered. Darling, where have you been? Her voice was frantic. We have a crisis. I heard. I tried to sound appropriately devastated. Poor Rem, having to leave so suddenly. This is a disaster. The Addams family connection was everything. But don't worry, I have a plan. I've called every eligible family in our circle. Mom, Donovan cut in, having moved closer to the phone. Stop. The wedding is happening as scheduled. But darling, without a bride. I said it's happening. Trust me. There was a long pause. When Mom spoke again, her voice had that dangerous sweetness I knew too well. Donovan, dear, I know you're upset, but we have to be realistic. The guests, the vendors, the press release I've already sent out. Mom, I jumped in, following our script. What if I helped? I could stand in for Rem, just for the ceremony photos. We look similar enough from a distance. The silence that followed was deafening. I could practically hear her mind racing, calculating angles and appearances. That's actually quite clever, she said slowly. Yes, that could work. We'd need to alter the dress, of course. And you'll have to do something about your hair. Whatever you think is best, Mom, I said, catching Donovan's approving nod. Come over right now. We need to start preparations immediately. And Isabella, wear the blue dress, the green one. Makes me look sallow. I know. After hanging up, I let out a shaky breath. Sterling immediately handed me a glass of wine. She bought it, Donovan said, sounding almost surprised. Hook, line, and sinker. Of course she did, Sterling said. You know your mom. She'd rather have a fake wedding than no wedding at all. Grayson arrived an hour later with updated plans. Okay, venue's confirmed we can access the AV system the night before. I've edited the footage, emails, bank statements, everything set to music. Very dramatic. What about the guests? I asked. Already handled, Sterling said. I've been seeding rumors about a special surprise at the ceremony. Everyone's intrigued. My phone chimed with a text from Mom. Ordered rush alterations for the dress. Be at the boutique tomorrow at 9 a.m. sharp. No excuses. Here we go, I showed them the message. Countdown to transformation. You know she's going to be impossible for the next week, Donovan warned. When isn't she? I grabbed my purse, preparing to head to Mom's house. But this time, every criticism, every passive-aggressive comment, every manipulation is just more fuel for the fire. That's my girl. Sterling hugged me goodbye. Remember, you're not just playing along anymore. You're gathering ammunition. As I headed out, Donovan caught my arm. Bella, wait. Are you sure you're ready for this? Once we start the dress fittings, there's no backing out. I thought about my empty bank account, about years of being second best, about all the dreams I'd given up to keep the peace. I've been ready my whole life, I said. It's time Mom learned what happens when you push your children too far. Marshal kids against the world, he offered our old motto. Against the world, I agreed, stepping out into the evening, ready to begin the final act of our longest-running rebellion. The wedding dress felt like armor as I stood in front of the boutique's three-way mirror. Mom circled me like a hawk, pinching fabric and muttering about emergency alterations. Stand straighter, she commanded, tugging at the bodice. Really, Isabella, if you'd maintained your high school figure, we wouldn't be rushing these adjustments. The seamstress, pinning the hem, shot me a sympathetic look. The dress is gorgeous on her, Mrs. Marshall. Your daughter looks like a princess. She's not the bride, Mom snapped. She's just standing in for photos. But yes, we need her to look adequate. My phone buzzed on the nearby chair. A message from Grayson. AV system hacked. All set for tomorrow. Who keeps texting you? Mom demanded. This is important, Isabella. Focus. Just Sterling, asking about makeup tomorrow. I lied smoothly. She's still doing my hair, right? Mom's lips tightened. I suppose, though I still think we should have hired professionals. Another text came through, this time from Donovan. Mom's credit card records came through. Wait till you see what she spent your money on. Isabella, phone away, I complied, but not before sending a quick to both messages. The seamstress continued working, and I caught fragments of Mom's running commentary. Thank goodness you and Remington are similar heights. Have to do something about that birthmark on your shoulder. Maybe we can Photoshop it later. The boutique door chimed, and Sterling breezed in with a garment bag. Emergency veil delivery. Oh, thank God! Mom rushed over. Please tell me it's the right shade of ivory. While Mom fussed over the veil with the boutique owner, Sterling sidled up to me. How you holding up? Ready for this to be over, I whispered. Did you see what Donovan found? Girl, you're going to flip. She spent part of your money on a spa retreat for herself. Called it wedding stress relief. The seamstress finished pinning the last section. All done, honey? You can change now. In the dressing room, I carefully hung up the dress, my hands shaking slightly. One more day, just one more day of playing along. Isabella? Mom called through the door. Hurry up. We still need to check the table settings and confirm the flowers. Coming! I changed quickly, emerging to find Mom already on her phone. No, absolutely not, she was saying. I ordered peonies, not garden roses. This is unacceptable. Do you know who I am? Do you know how much we're spending? Sterling rolled her eyes behind Mom's back, making me stifle a laugh. The rest of the afternoon passed in a blur of last-minute details. Mom micromanaged everything, from the exact shade of the napkins to the precise timing of the Dove release. Now remember, she instructed as we finally headed to our cars. Rehearsal dinner at 7. Wear the blue dress. Not the green one, Sterling and I finished in unison. Mom's eyes narrowed. This isn't funny. Tomorrow has to be perfect. The Addams family may have lost their bride, but we still have appearances to maintain. As soon as Mom drove away, I slumped against my car. I can't believe we're actually doing this. Having second thoughts? No, I straightened up. Just first-time jitters about publicly humiliating my mother. My phone rang. Donovan this time. You need to get to Grayson's now, he said when I answered. Wait till you see what we found in Mom's emails. 20 minutes later, I sat in Grayson's home office, staring at his computer screen in disbelief. She did what? I whispered. Contacted every art school you applied to, Donovan confirmed. Told them you had a history of plagiarism, that accepting you would be a liability. Grayson pulled up more emails. She also threatened to pull country club memberships from anyone who hired you for graphic design work. That's why I couldn't get any local clients, I realized, years of rejection suddenly making sense. It gets better, Remington chimed in from the video call on Grayson's second screen. She's been paying people to report my company's social media accounts as scams, trying to tank us before we launch. Tomorrow can't come soon enough, I said, anger burning away any remaining doubts. My phone lit up with another text from Mom. Don't be late to rehearsal, and please do something with your hair. We can't have you looking like a charity case in front of everyone. I showed the others the message, then deleted it with a decisive tap. You know what? I said, standing up. I think I'll wear the green dress tonight. Sterling grinned. That's my girl. One last act of rebellion before the grand finale. Mom wants perfect? I grabbed my keys. Let's show her what perfect really looks like. 5 minutes until showtime, Sterling whispered, adjusting my veil in the bridal suite. How are you feeling? Like I'm about to throw up or pass out. Maybe both. Well, don't. This dress was expensive. She stepped back, admiring her handiwork. You look incredible, by the way. Mom's going to lose it when she sees you. The door burst open and Mom swept in, already in full command mode. Everyone out except the bride. I mean, Isabella and Sterling. She waited until the bridesmaids filed out before turning to me. Well, at least you didn't ruin your hair this time. Thanks, Mom. That means a lot. She missed the sarcasm, too busy checking her phone. The photographer's ready. Donovan's in position. The Addams family sent a message expressing their disappointment, but they're here, front row. She finally looked up. Isabella, are you listening? Every word. Good. Now remember, you're just standing in for photos. Keep your head high, smile graciously, and... A knock at the door interrupted her. Grayson poked his head in. 2-minute warning, everyone. And Mrs. Marshall, you're needed in the main hall. This better be important, Mom huffed, hurrying out. As soon as she was gone, Grayson slipped inside. Everything's set. Screens are ready. Footage is queued up. The moment you reach the altar, I hit play. My hands were shaking so badly Sterling had to help me with my bouquet. What if she tries to stop it? That's what security's for, Grayson winked. Being the venue's preferred vendor has its perks. Another knock. This time it was Donovan. Ready, sis? You clean up nice, I managed, taking in his tuxedo. Very convincing groom. Learned from the best, he grinned. Mom's got everyone seated. It's time. Sterling hugged me tight. Go get 'em, Tiger. The wedding march began as I took my place behind the closed doors. Through the wood, I could hear the murmur of 300 guests, all of Mom's carefully cultivated social circle gathered to witness her perfect society wedding. Last chance to back out, Donovan whispered, offering his arm. I took it, squeezing perhaps a bit too tight. Not a chance. The doors swung open, the music swelled, and there, at the end of the aisle, I saw Mom's face transform from proud satisfaction to absolute horror as she realized who was walking down the aisle. Whispers rippled through the crowd. I caught fragments as we passed. Where's Remington? Is that his sister? What's going on? Mom started to rise from her seat, but Grayson was faster. The screens around the venue flickered to life, displaying the first email. RE, withdrawal of Isabella Marshall's art school applications. More emails followed, each one larger than the last. Bank statements, text messages, every piece of evidence we'd gathered projected for all to see. We reached the altar just as Mom's voice filled the room through the speakers. Of course I took her college fund. Donovan's wedding is more important than her little art hobby. The crowd's whispers turned to gasps. I turned to face them, Donovan at my side, as years of manipulation played out on the screens. Stop this immediately! Mom stood up, her face scarlet. This is ridiculous! Is it, Mom? I spoke into the microphone we'd hidden in my bouquet, my voice carrying through the sound system. More ridiculous than sabotaging your daughter's career? Than stealing her future? Everything I did was for this family. No, Donovan took the mic. Everything you did was for your reputation, your status, your control. The screens showed the final piece. Mom's frantic emails from the past week, offering to buy Remington's company, threatening to destroy her reputation, all to save face at this wedding. You're ruining everything, Mom hissed, advancing toward the altar. 2 security guards smoothly stepped into her path. Actually, Mom, I said, you did that yourself. Every manipulation, every lie, every time you chose your social standing over your children's happiness. It all led to this moment. And now, Donovan added, everyone knows exactly who you are. The crowd was dead silent, hundreds of eyes fixed on Mom as she stood there, trapped between the security guards and the weight of her exposed secrets. This wedding is over, she announced, trying to salvage some dignity. Everyone leave. Oh no, I smiled, channeling her own sweet venom. The party's just getting started. After all, you spent my entire college fund on it. Might as well enjoy it. As if on cue, the band started playing, and Sterling appeared with champagne. The stunned silence broke into nervous laughter, then genuine amusement as guests realized they were witnessing not just a wedding, but a revolution. Mom fled the hall, her perfectly curated world crumbling behind her, and for the first time in my life, I stood tall, no longer in anyone's shadow. Mom was waiting in the bridal suite when I went to change. her perfect posture a stark contrast to the chaos we'd just unleashed. She sat in the vintage armchair like it was a throne, her face a mask of cold fury. "Well," she said as I closed the door, "I hope you're satisfied with yourself." "Actually, I am." I started removing the veil, letting it fall to the floor. For the first time in my life, I did exactly what I wanted, instead of what you demanded. "What you wanted?" She stood up, voice rising. "You humiliated me in front of everyone who matters in this city. Do you have any idea what you've done? Showed them the truth?" "The truth?" She laughed bitterly. "The truth is I gave you everything, both of you. Every advantage, every opportunity. Every opportunity to be exactly who you wanted us to be," I cut in. "But the moment we tried to be ourselves, you sabotaged us." The door opened and Donovan walked in, followed by Sterling and Grayson. Mom's eyes narrowed at the reinforcements. "So this is what it's come to? My children conspiring against me with the help?" She gestured dismissively at our friends. "Mom," Donovan stepped forward, "the help just helped expose how you stole from your daughter and blackmailed your son. Maybe show some humility?" "Humility?" She spat the word like poison. "I built this family's reputation from nothing. Everything we have, everything you are, is in spite of you, not because of you," I interrupted. "And by the way, speaking of everything we have," I nodded to Grayson, who pulled out his phone. "The bank's been notified of the fraudulent transfers," he said. "They're reversing everything as we speak." Mom's face went pale. "You can't do that. I had authority." "Obtained through coercion," Sterling chimed in. "The emails prove it. The bank's fraud department was very interested in those." "And that's not all," Donovan added. "The art schools you contacted? They're sending written apologies to Isabella. Turns out they don't appreciate being manipulated into rejecting qualified students." Mom sank back into the chair. "This is how you repay me? After everything I've sacrificed?" "Sacrificed?" I stepped closer. "You sacrificed my dreams for your social climbing. You sacrificed Donovan's business for your country club status. The only thing you never sacrificed was your own ego. Get out!" Her voice was ice. "All of you. You're no children of mine." "Funny," I said, reaching for the door. "That's the first honest thing you've said all day." We left her there, surrounded by the wreckage of her perfect wedding. In the hall, guests were still mingling, the buzz of scandal electrifying the air. "Isabella!" Mrs. Adams, Remington's mother, caught my arm. "That was quite a performance." I braced for condemnation, but her eyes were twinkling. "Thank you for exposing Marin," she continued. "She's been terrorizing the social circuit for years. No one dared stand up to her until now." Others approached, each with similar stories. Mom's victims and witnesses finally free to speak their truth. "Your mother blacklisted my catering company last year. She threatened to pull donations from my charity. She spread rumors about my daughter's college admission." Sterling appeared with champagne. "To the fall of the Tyrant Queen?" We clinked glasses as Grayson's phone buzzed. He checked it, grinning. "Bank transfers complete. Isabella, you are officially unrobbed." "And that's not all," Donovan added. "Rem just texted. Our app's pre-launch publicity is through the roof. Turns out a dramatic society wedding scandal is better than any marketing campaign." "Speaking of publicity," Sterling nodded toward the entrance where reporters were gathering. "Looks like Mom's perfect society wedding is making headlines after all." "Let them come," I said, surprising myself with my steadiness. "It's time everyone knew the truth." "What happens now?" Grayson asked. "Now?" I looked around at my real family, my brother who chose truth over privilege, my friends who helped orchestrate our liberation. "Now we celebrate. After all, Mom did pay for an open bar." "And tomorrow?" Donovan asked softly. "Tomorrow we start living our lives without looking over our shoulders. No more manipulation, no more control." "Marshal kids against the world?" he offered. "No," I corrected him, including Sterling and Grayson in our circle. "Family against the world, the family we chose." As we raised our glasses again, I caught a glimpse of Mom slipping out a side door, alone for perhaps the first time in her social climbing life. But I felt no guilt, no regret, only relief and the lightness of finally being free. To new beginnings, I toasted. To truth, Donovan added. To karma, Sterling laughed. And somewhere in the background, the band played on. Your work is incredible, the gallery owner said, studying my latest piece. The emotion, the rawness, it's exactly what we're looking for. I tried to keep my voice steady. So you're interested in showing it? Interested? My dear, I want to feature you as our headline artist for next month's showcase. As she outlined the details, my phone buzzed with notifications. Donovan and Remington's app had just hit 1 million downloads, making headlines in the tech world. Mom would have hated that her stolen money had funded such a successful startup. The gallery owner finished writing up the contract. Just one thing. I noticed you sign your work as Isabella rather than using your family name. The art speaks for itself, I said. It doesn't need my mother's name attached to it. She nodded approvingly. Speaking of which, that wedding video really made waves. Very brave, what you did. It wasn't brave, I corrected her. It was necessary. Leaving the gallery, I headed to Sterling's coffee shop, our new regular meeting spot since the wedding. Donovan was already there, laptop open to another glowing review of their app. There's my famous artist sister, he called out as I approached. Says the tech mogul. I dropped into the chair beside him. Mom would be having fits if she knew how well we're doing without her influence. Actually, Sterling appeared with my usual order. She knows. She's been following both of you online. My brother saw her at the country club yesterday, showing people articles about Donovan's app on her phone. Seriously? I nearly spilled my coffee. Apparently, she's telling everyone she funded your initial startup, Donovan laughed. Technically true, I suppose. Classic mom, I shook my head, taking credit for the very things she tried to prevent. Speaking of prevention, Sterling sat down with us. Guess who just called asking about booking the coffee shop for a reconciliation brunch? My stomach tightened. She didn't. Oh, she did. Said she's ready to forgive us all for the wedding misunderstanding if we agree to let her back into our lives. Wow, Donovan whistled. Her social circle must really be crumbling if she's this desperate. What did you tell her? I asked Sterling. That we're fully booked until the next century. She grinned. Also, that forgiveness requires actual remorse, not just social convenience. My phone buzzed again, an email from one of the art schools Mom had blacklisted me from. They were offering me a guest lecturer position, impressed by my resilience and artistic growth. You should do it, Donovan said, reading over my shoulder. Show everyone what Mom tried to keep hidden. Maybe I will. I forwarded the email to Grayson, who'd become our unofficial PR manager. But first, I need your help with something. I pulled up the gallery contract on my phone. They want an artist's statement for the showcase, something about my journey and influences. Tell them the truth, Sterling suggested, about breaking free and finding your voice. Without mentioning Mom, Donovan added. She doesn't get to be part of this story anymore. The coffee shop door chimed, and we all looked up. For a moment, I thought I saw Mom's silhouette through the window watching us. But then, it was gone, like a ghost of the control she used to have over our lives. You know what's funny? I said, turning back to my family. My real family. She always said we'd fail without her connections, her influence, her money. But look at us now. Successful? Sterling offered. Happy, I corrected. We're finally happy. Donovan raised his coffee cup. To happiness without permission. To success without manipulation, Sterling added. To family, I finished. The kind you choose, not the kind that chooses you. As we clinked cups, I started typing my artist's statement. Art isn't about perfection or control. It's about truth, even when that truth is messy. Especially when it's messy. Because in that mess, we find our real selves, our real family, our real strength. The words flowed easily now, no longer constrained by fear of disapproval. Outside, the city moved on, full of people living their own stories of breaking free and finding truth. And somewhere out there, Mom was probably still trying to control her narrative, not realizing she'd lost the only thing that really mattered. Us. But that was her story now, not ours. We had our own stories to write, our own paths to follow, our own happiness to create. And for the first time in our lives, we were doing it all without looking over our shoulders, without seeking approval, without compromising who we were. We were free, and that was the greatest success of all.